to observe the interference, main disadvantage when you come to the light and the sound. In both the differences, in light wavelength is very small. So here in sound when you come, lambda is more, wavelength is more. Okay. That's why here you can observe the interference there in sound, even though the wavelengths are different. But here, when you come to the interference pattern in light, since the wavelength is very small, actually what will happen due to the interference? Generally, when you take two light waves or sound waves here, okay, and it is a screen in general, what I'm saying. These are the two sources, S1 and S2. Okay, considering the wave in case of sound, longitudinal or transverse mechanical wave, whereas in case of light, it is electromagnetic wave. So either mechanical waves or light waves, okay, whatever you take. But disadvantage in sound is mechanical waves, they require medium, whereas the electromagnetic waves, they don't want any medium. Here, while interfering at a point in the form of wave, here, basically first what we see while interfering on the screen, with what path difference and phase difference they interfere. Okay. With that path difference, the resultant amplitude of the two interfering waves, either sound waves or light waves, that change from point to point. Why? Because when you come to the screen here, suppose it is the screen, on the screen, when light is coming and it falls on the surface, while falling at one particular point, there and here, they won't maintain same path difference. Now, suppose if the light waves or sound waves are coming to here at this point from S1 and S2, and at that point P, S1 and S2, here and there, the path difference between the two won't be same. So point to point path difference changes. Path difference changes, phase difference changes. Phase difference is changing means at the points either while joining, the crust may join with the crust of other wave, or trough may join with the trough of other wave while joining here. If crust joins with the crust or trough joins with the trough, generally we say the phase difference between the two. There is no phase difference, that the angle, what I'm saying, phase difference is equals to 0, which may be in turn you can say, suppose this is the crust, this crust joins with the first crest of the wave here. The phase difference between the two is exactly one wave is completed means 2 pi radians completed. So here the phase difference will be either 2 pi or the multiples of 2 pi you will get. That's why the phase difference here when crust joins with the crust or trough joins with the trough will be 2n pi. Straight away we can say without using any mathematics. Or even using mathematics also you can say. By that, what happens here when crust joins with the crust, the resultant amplitude will be increased now. Why? Because both the amplitudes are positive. While joining, the resultant amplitude is equals to, I will get A1 plus A2 while joining here. Okay. And it is perfect addition. So you will get it is the maximum amplitude. So at a point, suppose while joining with a phase difference of 0, 2 pi or 4 pi light, okay, you will get maximum amplitude. If amplitude is maximum, the advantage there is the intensity mainly depends upon amplitude. I think you know the intensity is equal to 2 pi square mu square A square rho V. Okay, this is the formula where mu is the frequency, rho is the density of the medium, V is the velocity in that medium, and A is the amplitude. So here main disadvantage is the intensity depends upon the amplitude first. And that too, when you come to light waves, the frequency also same we are taking. Such a type of waves, we are calling them as coherent sources. Okay, coherent sources, you are taking the frequency same means you are taking the wavelength same. Okay, lambda is same for both the sources. Okay, and here Both are traveling in the same medium here. So V constant, rho constant, V square nu square constant. So we can get I is equals to Ka square here. So by this, what we can say, I is directly proportional to square of the amplitude from this equation. So if amplitude becomes maximum, the intensity of the resultant light or sound here at that point while interfering, we take that is also maximum. Means if these type of questions, they may ask in sound also now. There suppose two speakers are placed here, and if you sit in a chair at this position at some separation, okay, and here this is the line joining the midpoint of S1 and S2 here. From there you sit at a distance of this much, okay, then will you hear the maximum intensity of sound or minimum intensity of sound or some other intensity of sound. Okay, that intensity of sound they may ask even in case of sound also. Okay, there to take I is directly proportional to A square, you see here we have to consider the two sources are coherent. That is inevitable. Otherwise, the frequency also we have to add in intensity. And both are traveling in the same medium. That's why these two are also constant. So in general, what we take, both the sources coherent, not incoherent. And here I is directly proportional to A square we take. Okay. Then immediately you may ask, here suppose what will be the maximum intensities or maximum amplitude I got A1 plus A2. And maximum intensity, I will get here that constant K into A square means A maximum whole square. That is K into A1 plus A2 whole square. These are fundamental concepts, very basics. Okay. So here, what is the maximum means I have to take A1 plus A2 whole square means A1 square plus A2 square plus 2A1 A2 whole square. And that to here, intensity is directly proportional to A square means after expanding this term, I will get a K into or without expanding. You can say A1 is, A is directly proportional to root I naught. Okay. So I can write here from this equation I is equals, or from this equation I is equal to K A square, A is equals to I by K root of. Okay, root of I by K I will get. So A1 is equals to, I can root of I by K means I1 by K plus here root of I2 by K whole square if I take, and that root K taken out. Okay, after taking square, K get cancelled. I will get I maximum is equals to root I1 plus root I2 whole square. Okay, this is maximum intensity, which is perfectly not equal to I1 plus I2. After expanding, you can see I1 plus I2 plus additionally you are getting 2 root I1 root I2. This is the maximum intensity that you get in case of the coherent sources. Okay, coherent sources means only maintaining the frequency same, sir? No, not only maintaining the lambda same. When you come to here, the light, the disadvantage is since lambda is small, okay, at different positions while seeing on the screen where the intensity is maximum, where the intensity is minimum, like while finding out those points on the screen due to the phase difference or due to the path difference. Okay, path difference and phase difference, I think you know they are interrelated with path difference, which is path difference is equals to, I think you know, this is 2 pi by lambda into the phase difference, what we take 5. Okay, so here that phase difference suppose changes, the path difference also changes. That's why when you come to maximum condition, it is the amplitude, it is the intensity, and it is the phase difference. All these are conditions for maximum, and this is the condition for the path difference to get the maximum intensity at a point. Intensity is maximum means in case of sound, loud voice you can hear. In case of light, bright spot you can see there on the screen. Okay. So that's why such type of spot what formed there, if it is not a spot, if it is just like a line on the screen, line like this on the screen, that type of line is called as fringe. Okay. So that fringe, whatever formed on the screen is called as bright fringe. That's why all these are conditions for bright fringes. Okay. So for the bright fringes, the condition here, if you substitute this 2n pi there, you will get the condition. Okay. Here, sorry, phase difference is equals to our condition delta phi is equals to 2 pi by lambda into delta x. Sorry, it's my mistake. Delta phi is equals to the phase difference delta phi or phi, that is your representation, is equals to 2 pi by lambda into delta x. So delta x is equals to, I have to write lambda by 2 pi. Okay, taking this term to the other hand, lambda by 2 pi into 2n pi. So here 2 pi get cancelled. Delta x is equals to, you are getting n lambda. It is the condition for maximum. Okay, so this is the case for maximum only, Nana. And these type of basic questions generally they focus only in the BITSAT type of exams. So actually in BITSAT, wave optics they focus very less, Nana. Wave optics to semiconductor device they won't give. Okay, and here when you come to MSET, they focus more on this part, either AP MSET or TS MSET. And in mains also, they will focus on this part very less now. Okay, but in MSET, they focus more on this part, maximum, minimum, the intensities and amplitudes. Okay, in the same way here at a spot, okay, suppose the crust is joining with the trough at an instant. Okay, crust is joining with the trough means for the crust and the trough, if you see, the phase difference, angle difference will be, if it completes full wave, 2 pi. Just a half wave is completed means here, the phase difference between them is pi. Okay, that's why here if crust joins with the trough, means the phase difference is pi, or this crust is joining with another trough here. Okay, another trough means already 2 pi angle completed and pi angle completed, total 3 pi, while joining crust with another trough. So here, this is other possibility 3 pi and so on, you can say 5 pi. The phase difference angles here will be, they are odd multiples now. So you can write either 2n plus 1 or minus 1 into pi. Here in my case, n stands from 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. Sorry, it is from 1, 2, 3, so on. If I take 2n plus 1, you can write 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. Okay. So here I am, for my convenience, I am taking 2n minus 1 into pi now. Why? Because it is very easy to say by putting n is equals to 1, you can find first dot. By putting n is equals to 2, you can find second dot with the 3 pi. Okay. And from there, you can say in the same way, what will be the conditions of the amplitude and intensity as well as delta x. If you see there, this is the condition for minimum. Phi is equals to 2n minus 1 into pi. And here the path difference straight away you can write from there, lambda by 2 pi. Yeah, right only. Lambda by 2 pi into delta phi, the phase difference is 2n minus 1 into pi. By that, you are getting the path difference is equals to 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2. Okay. And here crust is joining with the trough means the resultant amplitude, one is positive, other is negative. So the resultant amplitude is equals to, I will get A1 difference A2 or mod of A1 minus A2. Okay. Which is either plus or minus what I am saying, A1 difference, A1 minus A2. This is the resultant amplitude. You can write either plus or minus nano. Why? Because amplitude is a vector. So here AR, directly you can write A1 minus A2. Okay, or A2 minus A1. Anyone you can write. And there, here, if you see, you are taking direct subtraction. Direct subtraction always gives minimum. So it is the minimum amplitude, what we say. Okay, and in the same way here, if you see the resultant intensity IR, which will be minimum, is equals to K into A square, A minimum square, which is equals to K into, we write A1 minus A2 whole square. This is the minimum intensity. Okay, so here, while finding out In terms of in terms of I1 and I2, you can say I minimum. In the same way, if you derive, you will get root of I1 minus I2 whole square. Okay. And you don't write plus or minus. Whether I1 is greater or I2 is greater, finally you will get plus only. That two intensity is a scalar. Okay. Right. And then here, while finding out, in this case, if you observe, suppose at a point while joining in your experiment by taking two sound sources or light sources here, initially what the condition I took, Nana? Lambda 1 is equals to lambda 2, both have the same wavelength. That is condition for our coherent condition, coherent sources. And here, suppose while joining the two waves on the screen while coming from these 2 points, okay, these two sound waves or light waves, are continuously changing the phase while delivering the wave. While delivering the wave means at an instant it is releasing crest and it is releasing trough. At some other instant means just in fraction of second, it is releasing half of the crest only. It is releasing still trough only. Means look at in a fraction of second, the phase difference between the two waves at the initial point, not I am saying here, at the point of joining, okay, the phase difference here pi, there's some unknown value. That phase difference, initial phase difference while starting from these 2 points, initial, what we say epoch actually, okay, which is suppose not constant, then problem is at this point also the phase difference while joining means this delta phi, what I'm saying, okay, that delta phi is not constant, that it continuously change. If that is continuously changed, then the disadvantage is here, suppose at the same point at one instant the phase difference is 0, then it forms bright. In a fraction of second the phase difference here change to pi, it forms dark. Okay, again in some other fraction of second it is changed to like 2 pi, again bright will be formed, again 3 pi, dark will be formed. Suppose here at the same point the phase differences are continuously changed, the interference pattern due to the superposition of these two waves I can observe here. Okay, but the problem is that phase difference, that interference pattern formed here should be detected by our eye. Okay, our eye can't identify such type of quick changes happening here, Nana. Okay, that's a problem is our eyeball can't detect the formation of bright and dark here, and it sees the complete illumination without bright and dark. Means you are seeing no near, means interference pattern is formed, but your eyeball is not able to detect. Means you are unable to identify the formed interference pattern and it sees the complete illumination here. That's why the disadvantage is whatever the interference pattern formed here, unable to detect if the initial phase difference is continuously changing. Okay, that's why if the initial phase difference is not constant initially while delivering from the points A and B here, such a type of sources which are unable to maintain a constant phase difference at the positions of start A and B, such a type of sources are called as incoherent sources now. Okay, incoherent sources, then for them the phase difference initially is not constant. Okay, they are called as incoherent sources. Okay, incoherent sources means the disadvantage here, if you not able to identify the phase difference, then you can't write the resultant amplitude which is a vector. Like if there is some phase difference between the two waves, the resultant amplitude like we write in parallelogram law of vectors using them, a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2 cos the phase difference we write. Okay, here problem is I am unable to identify that phase difference and straight away I take it as some unknown value and straight away there the resultant amplitude I can't identify now. So what will be the resultant intensity at a point here? Okay, directly I say resultant amplitude I don't know, but the resultant intensity, resultant is equals to, here you observe, I said in case of maximum, I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2, if they are able to maintain some constant phase difference. Okay, if it is unable, means this is for coherent sources. In the same way, I minimum you can write it as I1 plus I2 minus 2 root I1 I2. That is for minimum intensity. Okay, but that is for coherent sources. Suppose if you take incoherent sources, I maximum or I minimum, the resulting intensity straight away, directly adding up the two intensities, means I1 plus I2, not directly adding up the resultant amplitudes. Okay, so if they are incoherent, resultant intensity I have to write I1 plus I2 only straight away. Whereas if they are incoherent sources, then I have to write from this equation, if you know the constant phase difference that they are maintaining here, if you know, then I can write here, these are conditions now, try to remember. And then here I can write the resultant amplitude I wrote here. So this is not for incoherent sources. This is for coherent sources. For incoherent sources, I can't write the amplitude, but I can write the resultant intensity as I1 plus I2. So again, I'm coming back to not incoherence. Incoherence means the resultant intensity I'm not able to identify. I'm not able to identify means I'm not detecting any interference pattern there. Then it is unnecessary for us. Okay. In numericals, if they ask, suppose the phase difference is not constant, the two sources are incoherent, what will be the resultant intensity at the same point? To find out the numerical value, we use this equation. Resultant intensity is equals to I1 plus I2. Okay, I will give one example and you can understand that. Okay, and then here, if they are coherent, resultant amplitude I told, and resultant intensity, which is not equals to I1 plus I2, look at here, K into resultant amplitude whole square. If I square this one, I will get K into A1 square plus A2 square plus 2A1 A2 cos phi. I will get. Okay, and here if I multiply with the K into A1 square is I1, K into A2 square is I2 plus 2 into this K, I write it as root K into root K, which is K into A1 into A2 cos phi right. Okay, so here I is equal to actually K A square. Then root I is equals to root K into A. So root K into A1 I write it as I1, root K into A2 I write it as I2 from this equation. Then I will get resultant is equals to I1 plus I2 plus 2 I1 I2 root I1 root I2 cos phi. Look at here, it is the resultant intensity at a point if you know the fixed phase difference. Okay, if you don't know, okay, then what we have to do, sir? That phase difference average we have to take. Okay, average means for full cycle 2 pi radians. The average of cos phi, I think you know the average of cos phi or sin phi, cos theta or sin theta in mathematics is equals to 0 now. Okay, and average of sine square or cos square is half. That I think you know your mathematics. So average of cos phi, this becomes 0. If it is 0, then you will get resultant intensity is equals to I1 plus I2 straight away. Okay, this is the story, Nana. If they are incoherent, if they are coherent. Okay, and that phi, if you know for maximum and minimum, conditions I wrote, Nana. And maximum for maximum it is 2n pi, and for minimum it is 2n minus 1 into pi. If you substitute here, you will get those two equations. Okay, for maximum plus for minimum minus here you will get. Okay, this is the resultant intensity concept, Nana. Okay, the basic models here without going into Young's double slit experiment. Okay, means without using the Young's double slit experiment, we discussed all these points. Okay, so if anyone asks you what is the major difference between coherence and incoherence, straight away we say coherent sources maintain constant phase difference, whereas incoherent sources can't maintain constant phase difference. That is the basic difference between them. Okay, for our convenience, we are taking lambda is equals to constant. Okay, and then here, if I enter, suppose if I give one example, okay, how to use this coherence and incoherence concept. Okay, suppose these two are 2-point sources. Okay, of amplitudes A1 is equals to say some 2 and A2 is equals to say some 6. Like if they won't give actually 2 and 6, A1 by A2 is equals, they will give the 1 by 3 ratio they will give. Okay, suppose the values are given. A1 is equals to 2, A2 is equals to 6. Right? Suppose on the screen, placed in the same plane of these 2 points, means the plane of the 2 points and the plane of the screen are parallel to each other. Okay, in that case, okay, fundamentally we take like none. Later, one by one, we have to discuss if they are perpendicular, if they are making some angle like. Okay, and then here, suppose these two are parallel to the 2 planes are parallel to each other at a point. Suppose somewhere here on the screen. Okay, it is a bright fringe. Okay, and here the intensity is how much? If they ask, but for bright, I know the condition. For bright means it is maximum. I maximum is equals to K into A1 plus A2 whole square. I use this equation. Why? Because I know the amplitude. Okay. So here straight away he gave the amplitude. So I write K into this is 6 plus 2, 8 square, which is 64. This is maximum intensity at that point. Okay. Let it be I. Okay. Let it be I. Then he is saying these two sources, okay, are suppose incoherent. Okay, then what will be the intensity at the same point, say P? Okay, say the answer in terms of I. So very simple. Here, if they are coherent and he said it is bright, so I use this equation. Okay, if they are incoherent, then no bright and no dark is observed there on the screen. So I feel that for incoherent sources, the resultant intensity at the same point P is equals to, I write I1 plus I2. Okay, I1 is equals to what? K into A1 square, K square formula. This is K into A2 square. Okay, and here both the K's are same. Why? Because he said here the lambda 1 is equals to lambda 2. Wavelengths are equal. And here I write resultant is equals to K into, I am not getting A1 plus A2 whole square. I am getting A1 square plus A2 square. A1 square is 4 plus A2 square is 6, 6 the 36. So I am getting K into this is 40. Okay. So this resultant intensity he is asking in terms of the I maximum is given as I. Okay. So I means K is equals to, I can write I by 64 nana, that I substitute here. The resultant intensity is equals to, I will get 40 into the K is I by 64, I substitute here. So I will get something like 4 tens are here, 4 ones are 16 fours are, and here this is 5 by 8 into I. Look at here, the resultant intensity is not equal to the I if the sources are incoherent. Okay, this is the story, Nana. Okay, how to find the intensity concept before starting the Young's double slit experiment. Okay, and the basic models I think you can solve. Okay, like the amplitudes ratio is A1 by A2 is equals to 1:3. What will be ratio of I max to I minimum? Or what is the ratio of I1 to I2? These type of models I think you can solve. Okay, By using I max means A1 plus A2 whole square, that is 1 plus 3, 4x whole square, by here A1 minus A2 or A2 minus A1 whole square, 3 minus 1, 3 minus 1 is 2, 2x whole square. Okay, means this is ratio, Nana. Amplitudes are not given. So A1 I am taking 1x, A2 I am taking it as 3x. And k in the ratio get cancelled. So finally I will get some answer there. Okay, there is no problem. And here I1 by I2 means directly I1 is equal to k A1 square by k A2 square. Right away you can say here A1 square by A2 square. Okay, they are very basic numbers. Okay, and here suppose if they ask some parallel beam of light is falling, suppose on a surface, this is one glass slab, okay, falling on a surface, and here suppose when light is reflected, means at each surface, even though it is glass slab, practically some part of light is reflected, some other part of light is refracted. Okay, so practically if you observe, at each reflection he is saying 25% of light, incident light is reflected. If it is sound case, 25% of sound is reflected. Okay, so anything you can take, Nana. So here in this case, what he is saying, when light incident on this surface, some part of light refracted, okay, some other part of light is reflected. Okay, if the incident intensity is I, reflected intensity you can say, which is 25% of this one. 25% of I means which is I by 4. 25% is 1 by 4, I by 4. So in the total light I by 4 is reflected means you can say 3I by 4 is refracted. Okay, and here it incidents on the other surface now. Other surface again, practically if you observe, there will be some part of light reflected. Okay, some other part of light is refracted. Okay, like this, bends to away from the normal. Okay, so some other part of light refracted means again in this 25% is reflected. Why? Because at each reflection he said 25% of light is reflected. So again 25% of 3I by 4 means you will get this is equals to again 1 by 4. You will get 3I by 16. Okay. So in 3I by 4, 3I by 16 is reflected means remaining is simple, very we can say 25% is reflected means 75% is refracted remaining. So this is 75% of 3I by 4. 75% means here incident light of intensity is 3I by 4. In that 25% is reflected, 75% is refracted. 75% is refracted here means this is 3 by 4, 75% is. So this intensity you are getting 9I by 60. Okay, this is refracted. And again here, if we incidence on the first surface, again some part of light is reflected, some other part of light is refracted. Like this. Okay. Again here reflected is in this 3I by 16, 25% is reflected. So 3I by 16 of 25%, 25% of 3I by 16, 25% is 1 by 4. You are getting this is equals to 3I by 64. Okay. 75% is refracted means here 3I by 16 of 75% is 3 by 4 of 3I by 16, which is equals to 9I by 60. Okay. After taking that much part, okay, this one we are doing now, all this calculation. He said, suppose considering it as A, B and this as A dash, B dash, okay, These two light waves are interfering somewhere by placing the screen here. Okay, means above the glass slab, parallel to the glass slab, some screen is placed. These two light waves are interfering. Okay, while interfering with the phase difference of 0 or 2 pi or 4 pi. Okay, then what will be the maximum intensity? Then maximum intensity that you can get, he is asking. Okay, if you are able to find out the intensity of one light and the intensity of other lights, okay, maximum, by considering them as coherent sources, the resultant intensity maximum will be, maximum intensity that you get here is, this is I by 4, that is 9I by 4, means what is the equation on I max? K into A1 plus A2 whole square. A1 is root I1 root I2. Okay, of course this K won't be there in case of maximum intensity. Okay, so I max is equals to, I'm getting root of I1 plus I2 root I2 whole square, means root of I1 is here root I by 2. Okay, and root of I2 here is plus this is 3 root I by, this is root 64 is 8 whole square. Okay, of course you can do some calculation there, which is I into half plus 3 by 8. This calculation you can do, and it is the maximum intensity that you get. Okay, this question previously given, Nana. Suppose same question if they change, and here this light ray is extended till here. Okay, this is of intensity 9I by 3I by 64. Nana. Again, some part of light is reflected and some other part of light is refracted here. These two waves are interfered. Okay, interfered. Then in that case, what will be the resultant intensity for maximum condition is, you can solve. Okay, these two refracted means again you can get. Okay, 25% is reflected of 3I by 60. Okay, not 3I by 64, I think. 3I by 64. That light in the 3I by 64, 75% is refracted, means 3 by 4. This one like 9I by something, you will get 136. So sorry, 256. This is 256. Right? Then what will be the maximum intensity when these two light waves interfere? You can solve in the same way. Okay, this is one model, Nana. And keep in mind, till now we did not enter into Young's double slit experiment. Okay, these are few basic models, right? And suppose now if you enter into what is the Young's double slit experiment there, okay, to observe something in Young's double slit experiment, main condition is the two sources should be coherent. Condition for Young's double slit, YDSC simply we say. Okay, coherent means the phase difference should be constant, and here in case of light we take wavelength constant. These are the main conditions before starting. And generally here Young, what he did, replaced the 2 point sources, okay, there, replaced with 2 slits. Slits means generally we take 2 parallel plates like this, very close to each other, like a narrow beam will pass through the 2 plates here. This is called as actually slit. One is fixed, other is movable, like this. Okay. So here when they are very close to each other, in between the 2 palms, means in the slit, the light will enter and will come to the other side. Okay. These are 2 slits, Nana. Look at, for the slit, it is the width. Okay. This is the width, means from here to there, it is the width. If you increase the width, means generally students may ask why Young replaced the point sources with the slits. Okay. If you increase the width of the slit, if you take this width of the slit as W, okay, then here The slit has many point sources here, Nana. Many point sources means from each point. So suppose if you take some intensity of light I, with the increase of point sources, the intensity of light coming from each slit will also be increased. That's why the advantage of taking the slits is by taking by increasing the width of the slit here, you can increase the intensity of light coming from the source without changing the intensity of original source. Okay. So here the intensity of light coming from these 2 points, say generally he named them as S1 and S2. There the intensity of light coming to the other side here to interfere on the screen, which is placed parallel. Basically we take parallel only. Okay. There the width, suppose is this is the width of each slit. Okay, is equals to W. Then the intensity of light coming from each slit will be I is directly proportional to W light. Okay. And here, when you come to sound, you can place 2 different speakers which are delivering at the same instant the same type of sound, not like 7.1 speakers or 5.1 Dolby speakers. Okay, here 2 speakers both are releasing the same sound. Okay, without splitting the sound decibels there. Okay, so here in this case, we are taking not 2 independent sources, Nana. I think you know that. When you come to light, the disadvantage, the independent sources continuously change the phase difference between the 2 while releasing the light. Means they behave like incoherent sources. That is a disadvantage. That's why when you come to light particularly, not sound, okay, we take another source here, which is S. Okay, that source is the original source, and from the source here we take the source initially, Nana, on a perpendicular bisector of S1 and S2, means at equidistance from S1 and S2. SS1 should be equals to SS2. That is basic condition. Okay, but it is not the condition to do the numericals related to Young's double slit experiment. You may place here or somewhere, that is your wish. But basically, we take the source on the perpendicular bisector initially. Okay, and here that one also I will tell why he took the S here exactly on the perpendicular bisector. Okay, so from this source, suppose this is the intensity of light coming from the 2 slits, same intensity. Okay, but here, if you want to change after passing S1 and S2, these are the 2 light waves coming from S1 and S2. Those 2 behave as the 2 virtual sources, not the real source. It is the real source. These are the virtual sources. Okay, and here, suppose the width of S1 is W1, width of the slit of S1, and it is the width of S2. Then even though the intensity of light coming from original source is not changed, okay, same light intensity is falling on both, but when you come to the other side, the intensities are not equal. Okay, so when you come to other side, if the widths are different, then obviously intensities are different. Here I have to take some I1, here some I2. Okay, then at a point here, suppose on the screen, say some P, and this perpendicular bisector here joins the screen, meets the screen at a point O you take. Okay, Nana? Means I am taking that point at certain distance from O. And there, suppose if you want to say some path difference or phase difference, keep in mind, path difference means these are not the original sources. These are virtual sources, the 2 slits. So we have to take the path difference from the original source, yes. Okay. So the path difference while writing, when you come to the mains type of questions or advanced type of questions particularly, okay, this path difference also we have to consider. Means total path difference between the 2 light waves originally coming from source is SS1 plus S1P, and there it is SS2 and S2P. Difference SS2 plus S2. Okay. Now I think you can understand why I took the source on the perpendicular bisector basically. Okay. Here, if I take the source on the perpendicular bisector, I know SS1 is equals to SS2. So that here no need to consider the path difference before reaching the points S1 and S2 from the source. So when you come to basic models, straight away the path difference while calculating, you can start from here. From here, what will be the path difference on the other side, neglecting this part. But is a majority of problems when you come to means they won't take the sources on the perpendicular bisector. Such type, if you take on the perpendicular bisector, it is called as symmetric source. That's why they use the words like source is symmetric, source is asymmetric. Like source is asymmetric means the source is not placed on the perpendicular bisector. That you have to understand. Okay. Then here, that path difference, fundamentally we take delta x is equals to S1P difference S2P. That is either S1P minus S2P or S2P minus S1P. Okay, anything you can take. But while solving the problems, in this case, S2P is greater than. So I'm writing S2P minus S1P. Okay. But keep in mind, while solving, we have to measure the path difference between these 2 points also. Okay, right. At that point, the path difference, again, conditions no need to mention. Before starting the Young's double slit experiment only, I told. For maximum, what is the condition? For minimum, what is the condition? That condition, delta phi, I told it as 2n phi. Here, delta phi is equals to 2n minus 1 into phi. And the path difference also I told delta x is equals to n lambda here. Here delta x is equals to 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2, what I got. And here I take n 1, 2, 3, so on. Here I take n is equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, so on. Okay. And one more advantage when you take the source here on the perpendicular bisector, that is the symmetric source, the advantage here, the path difference, you will get 0 also. For the case of maximum. Okay, in maximum we are getting the path difference 0. Already from SS1 to SS1 minus SS2, that from that you already got the path difference 0. And here path difference is 0 from S1 and S2 means for the 2, the equidistant point is O. That's why when you come to S1 to S1 and from S2, when you draw the light waves here, the path difference S1O and S2O is 0. Okay, path difference 0 means that should be the maximum intensity point. Means here you can observe the bright fringe. Okay, and if the source is symmetric, then confidently you can say in Young's double slit experiment at the point O, the fringe formed is, there is no second thought, straight away we can say it is bright fringe. But don't say at O, all the times the bright fringe is formed. Okay, the second statement is wrong now. If the source is symmetric, at O, the fringe formed is bright. Yes, that statement is correct. But in Young's double slit experiment, YDSE, all the times at the point O, the fringe formed is bright. Second statement is wrong. Why? Because if the source is asymmetric here, we can't cancel S1 and SS1 and SS2, and we can't take, even though S1O is equals to S2O, total path difference I have to write, which is SS1 plus S1O. Difference here I have to write SS2 plus S2O. Okay, S1O is equals to S2O. So in subtraction, these two get cancelled. But still I am finding out SS1 minus SS2 or SS2 minus SS1. Okay, some path difference I am going to find out, which is not equal to 0 if the source is asymmetric. Okay, That's why here I can't say that fringe formed at O is bright. Okay. Sir, if it is not equals to, can I say it is a dark fringe? How can you judge, Nana? I am saying delta x is not equals to 0. But for maximum, the condition of delta x is not only 0. You can find delta x is equal by putting n equal to 1 here. You may get delta x is equals to 0. That is not possible. Maybe lambda, maybe 2 lambda by putting the n values here, maybe 3 lambda. Okay. So here, suppose at the point O, the path difference, it is not equal to 0. Suppose path difference is equals to lambda, then you can find the fringe bright only. Okay. Sir, how can you judge, sir, here? Then the delta x, suppose here which is not equal to 0, delta x is from this condition, by putting n equals to 1, you may get lambda by 2 or 3 lambda by 2 or 5 lambda by 2. So I don't know. It is not equals to 0 means not equals to 0. That says it may be any of these values. Any of these values means there the bright fringe may be formed, the dark fringe may be formed. That we can't judge unless you know SS1 and SS2. Okay, that's why the source is not asymmetric. Sorry, source is not symmetric, means that is asymmetric. Then at O, which type of fringe is formed? If they ask, we have to write it may be bright or dark. Okay, and here the advantage is if the sources are point sources, not the slits, what he ends took. Okay, if the sources are point sources, then I can say here the bright circular spots are formed at the bright fringes. Dark fringe, of course, if the amplitudes are equal or unequal, the intensity is less. That's why here at the bright fringes, circular spots are formed due to the interference of these 2 point sources. But actually, Young's took what? To change the intensity, he gave some flexibility for us. Okay, you may take both of same widths. If you take same widths, same intensity, you will get on the other side. Okay, and depending upon that slit width, the intensity I1 may be equal to I2 and may not be equal to I. Okay, that is one more advantage what we get in case of replacing the point sources with the slits. Okay, there if you take the slit, then here on the screen is perfectly this pillar is the screen. Suppose if you consider it as a screen, on the screen you can see not circular spots, Nana. You can see the lines like this. Okay, means one straight line, another straight line. Why? Because these are slits, Nana. Okay, straight lines are formed. Okay, on the wall. On the wall, straight lines are formed means like this. 1, 2. Those you can't see straight away if I put the duster here, unless I turn the duster in this direction. So if I turn this screen towards you, then you can observe there on the screen. Suppose this screen is turned like the board here. On the screen, you can see the fringes like this. Bright fringes I am drawing there. Okay, in between dark will be there. Okay, and here those bright fringes here appear like straight depending upon the distance between the two. If the distance is increased, the intensity also changes, Nana. That's why here these lines will bend and they will be appeared like this. Means here they will be appeared like this. Okay, in mathematics that is the shape of hyperbola. That's why here if I take the slits, okay, generally we place the screen at a distance in meters, Nana. That's why in general you will get these type of fringes on the screen due to the slits. Then what type of fringes are formed there if they ask, means the shape of fringes. Then you have to put neither circular spots nor the straight lines. You have to put the option hyperbolic fringes are formed. Okay, that question previously given in exam and already given. What type of fringes are formed? The answer is hyperbola. Okay, the shape of fringes is hyperbola. Okay, And then here, I already told intensity is directly proportional to width. Means the amplitude of light coming from the two sources, you can say intensity is directly proportional to a square and amplitude. So you can say a square is directly proportional to W. That implies you can write A is directly proportional to root W. Okay. So if they ask what will be the maximum intensity at one point, what I told, root I1 plus root I2 whole square. Okay, that you can write in terms of k into a1 plus a2 whole square. That you can write in terms of k into a1 means root w1 plus root w2 whole square. Even you can write if you want to extract the formula. Sir, directly we try to calculate from the width the ratio of intensity, sir. Okay, from there straight away you can substitute the values. Okay, how to place the widths in the maximum intensity? Just I give one formula there. Okay, and then here in this case, what they observed on the screen by taking the two sources as coherent and by taking, suppose their widths are equal, W1 is equals to W2, the intensities of light coming from here are equal, I1 is equals to I2. If the intensities are equal, Nana, then at a point you can observe the maximum intensity is equals to, here you can write root I1 plus root I2 whole square. Let it be suppose some I. You can write here root I1 plus root I2 whole square means I root I plus root I. You can write root 2 root I whole square. That equals to, you can write it as 4I square. 4 root I whole square, that is the root I whole square is I, 4I directly you can say. Okay, and I minimum straight away you can say, Nana, root I1 minus root I2 whole square, which is equals to 0. Okay, look at here, maximum to minimum, the difference is maximum. Difference is maximum means you are seeing pure black dark fringe and a pure bright like white light. Okay, means bright spot, pure black spot you can observe there. Okay, means you can distinguish the fringes very clearly if the intensities are equal. Okay, that one what he says called as fringe visibility, Nana. Okay, with how much visibility there the fringes are formed. Okay, that fringe visibility represented with the letter V, it is not the potential difference. Fringe visibility equals to root I1 minus root I2, maximum to minimum difference, I maximum minus I minimum divided by I maximum plus I. Okay, compared with this, what will be the difference? Okay, that is the fringe visibility. And here you can say that fringe visibility will be more when the numerator is more. Numerator is more when the subtraction is less. Subtraction is less, then it should be 0 only. That's why here, if the intensities are equal by taking the widths equal, then you can see here the very good visibility on the screen. Okay. Otherwise, you can see like why, because I minimum is not equal to 0. If I1 is not equal to I2, then the disadvantage is you can observe here not like pure bright, pure dark. You can observe less bright, more bright, again less bright, more bright, less bright, more bright. Type of fringes you can observe there on the screen if I1 is not equal to I2. Okay. So this is one more case, Nana, related to the intensities. Okay, and then here, suppose okay, the path difference at a point while finding out. Suppose these are two slits taken, S1 and S2. Yes. And basically I'm taking the source is symmetric and it is the screen placed parallel to it. and here this is the bow. What type of fringe is formed? Even you also can say confidently that is bright, sir. Why? Because source is symmetric, sir. And here at a point P, okay, by taking the two light waves, okay, when they come to here, what will be the displacement mean? These type of questions also important, like A1 sine omega t, we write for the first one, wave equation. And here y2 for the second, we write A2 sine omega t. If they maintain the same phase difference 0, suppose the phase difference is something there like plus or minus, you can add that constant phase difference. Okay. So these are the two equations for the two sound waves coming from the slits S1 and S2. Okay, I'm not saying SS1 and S2. I'm saying from S1 and S2. So here in this case, already I discussed about what will be the resultant amplitude with the phase difference using the parallelogram law of vectors and all the conditions we took, Nana. Okay, there after writing the final condition, you will get here, suppose this point is taken at a distance y. Okay. Generally, the path difference, we have to write it as, like in this case particularly, S2P minus S1P without writing SS1 and SS2. Why? Because that is symmetric. Okay. And that one, while saying here in terms of the distance between the two slits, you can represent with a D or L, that is your wish. Okay. It is generally in meters, and here the distance between the two slits, okay, it is represented with the letter D. Generally it is in millimeters or micrometers, okay, and it is generally in meters. Then here, suppose it is bright, and this is not called as first bright, Nana. It is the center of all the fringes. That's why it is called as central bright. Okay. And this is suppose first bright. Okay. Then here, while deriving this equation, I think this is there in IT textbook also. That's why I'm not giving the total derivation. Here, the first fringe and the central fringe, the difference between the two bright fringes means, suppose this is the bright fringe, the total thing, and it is the first bright fringe total thing. From center to center, this separation is exactly giving the width of dot. Okay, means in between two central fringes, who will be there in this region? Who will be there? That is a dot. Okay, so the fringe width of dot, or the width of the bright, after deriving, you will get the fringe width, what we say. Okay, that fringe width, you will get lambda is D or L by D. Okay, so to observe one fringe, Nana, here the width should be more. That's why we here, to increase the fringe width, generally we are trying to decrease the denominator. That's why generally the distance between the two slits we take in millimeters or micrometers, and we have to increase the distance between the two slits to increase the fringe width. Okay, that's why generally we take it in meters. Okay. This is the fringe width. Even though you increase this one and decrease that one, the disadvantage in when you come to light, lambda is in the order of 10 angstroms. Lambda is in angstroms. Okay, angstroms means 10 power minus 10 meter. Since lambda is much small, you will get beta also very small, like in millimeters. Okay, that fringe width here, if you observe either bright or dark. Okay, this is the fringe width of bright, of or dark, anyone. Means all the fringes are formed with the same width. Okay, the dark fringe, width of dark fringe, width of bright fringe, both are same. Okay, that fringe width depends upon, look at here, the lambda D and D. Okay, and if they ask the total, suppose apparatus is immersed in a liquid. Okay, after immersing this apparatus in liquid, the separations won't change. It will be L and that will be D only. But from the two sources, the light coming to that point changes now. Means the total apparatus is immersed in a liquid like this. Same liquid. Then you will get the fringe width different now. That is equals to lambda D by D into, already I told, the lambda in a medium becomes lambda by mu. Okay, means this is the beta dash in a liquid. So what will be the fringe width in a liquid if they ask? We write it as lambda D by D is beta in air. Beta in air divided by mu beta H. Okay, since beta, here I explained clearly, that is in millimeters or some micrometers or centimeters, the width of each fringe is very small. Okay, that width at the center of S1, S2 makes very small angle here. Okay, so here, even though the fringe width is in like centimeters, here the angle made is very small. Okay, that angle here made, suppose represented with the letter theta. Okay, that theta is called as angular fringe width. So here theta is angular fringe width, and that is equal, since theta is very small, you can consider it as a sector nana. So here we write angle is equals to arc by radius, or it is the width of a fringe, beta by the radius is D or N. So angular fringe width we write beta by D, or that beta is in A, lambda D by D. Beta by capital D is nothing but lambda by D. So you can write it as lambda by D. And keep in mind, it is also depending upon the lambda. So if they ask the angular fringe width in some liquid, then I have to write this is lambda by mu into D, which is theta in air by D. Okay, so here the difference between the two is, it is depending upon not only lambda and D, extra it is depending upon the distance between the two slits. Whereas theta is depending upon only lambda and the distance between the two slits. It is independent of a capital D here. Okay, that you have to understand. This is the fringe width and that is the angular fringe width. Okay, and here you have to remember, while solving these equations, okay, they may ask the intensity of first bright fringe is equals to first bright is equal to say some 4 watt per meter square. The intensity of 10th bright, if they are, it is a silly question. In Young's double slit experiment, we have to remember that intensities of all brights same. Any bright is same. That is equals to what we write, I1 plus root I2 whole square, or 4I square, sorry, 4I in case of I1 is equals to I2. Okay, and in the same way you can say I of any dark is equals to root I1 minus root I2 whole square, and that is equals to 0 in case of I1 equals to I2. That's why if they ask 10th bright or 9th bright or 8th bright, we can say the same intensity, that is 4 watts per meter square. That's why if you see the graph related to the intensity here, you can observe the same intensity at all points here. In case of symmetric source, exactly at the point O, central bright, you can central point, you can observe the bright, so you can get one bright like this. Like we draw one graph related to intensity and distance. Okay, so it is the central bright, and it is the first bright, and it is the second bright, like you can say on one side. On the other side, it is the first bright. Okay, don't say -1 bright. Okay, first bright, second bright on both sides. So here it is second bright, and here this is the second bright on the lower side. This is the second bright, maybe the second bright on the upper side. Okay, but all they have the same intensity here for maximum and for minimum. Okay, this is the shape of the graph related to the intensity, and keep in mind all brights have same intensity and all darks have same intensity. Okay, and then here in this case, if it is given as y, means the distance between point O and point P. Okay, here between these two, if the distance is given as y, okay, then here how to find that y means again by doing some calculation here, like if the angle here is theta at the point, okay, then means that point makes an angle theta, which actually exactly equals to the phase difference or some theta. Then the path difference you can write in terms of the theta now. Since these two are close, the angle whatever it made here is equals to the angle made here by dropping one perpendicular on S2. Okay. So here if it is theta, then you can write the path difference between these two light waves, delta x, the path difference, okay, which is the opposite sign, and it is the hypotenuse. So I can write S2, S1, S2 into sine theta. Okay, means sine theta is equals to opposite side, which is the path difference delta x by hypotenuse. Yes, S1, S2. So here delta x is equals to, I can say S1, S2 is d sine theta 145. If you know the phase difference, you can write that delta x as d sine phi. Okay, that delta x, what you are writing here, which is d sine phi, okay, by taking here two lines and solving those two equations, means by taking one triangle here, by taking another triangle here, path difference is actually S2p minus S1p, which is equals to d sine phi. Okay, that S1p means we have to write here as this is hypotenuse, root of d square plus this part. Okay, root of d square plus this part is total y minus this is exactly half of d now. So d square plus y minus d by 2 whole square, side square plus side square, and here S2p from this right angle triangle you can write that is, this is actually S1p, and S1p is root of d square plus y minus d by 2 whole square, and S2p is minus S2p is here, this is d square plus this whole part is y plus this part, which is exactly equals to half of d. So y plus d by 2 whole square. This is actually what we have to remember now. Okay. Then by extracting this one using the binomial expansion, putting the whole power half is taken to here and solving this equation, finally you will get, means by taking this y plus d by 2 is very small compared to d square. Okay, so this part is very small compared to d square, then we can use the binomial expansion and solving this one. Finally you will get y d by capital D. But it is not the final equation, keep in mind. This is the original equation. If they give all these values are very small, this is in millimeters, this is also in millimeters, and this is in meters. Okay, sometimes when you come to means they try to confuse now. Okay, the y they give in some centimeters, this is also in centimeters, like this is in 60 centimeters, this is 50 centimeters, and this is 100 centimeters. Look at here, it is appeared like 1 meter, d is 100 centimeters, but y and d, which are y is 60 centimeters and small d is say some 10 centimeters. Okay, the difference here y plus d by 2 by taking here d by 2 is 5, y plus d by 2 65. 65 is not negligible when compared with 100. That's why I can't do the binomial expansion here. If I can't do the binomial expansion, finally I can't write delta x is equals to y d by d. That's why don't say the answer this is equals to, are very simple, sir. 60 into d is 10 divided by 100 is equals to, sir, very simple, sir, this is 6 centimeters, sir, path difference. If you say it is wrong, absolutely wrong. Okay, it should be like this is 6 millimeters and this is 1 millimeter and it is like 1 meter or 10 meters. Then you can here neglect the parts here and you can write the binomial expansion. Then you can substitute these values in the given equation. So keep in mind, it is not the final equation. It is the equation under some conditions. And originally delta x means this is the delta x. Which one you can write it as d sine phi. Okay, and here that y to calculate we use the formula delta x into by taking cross multiplication d by d. This is the y, and that y you can write for bright at the point P. If bright is formed, the condition we know n lambda into d by d. Okay, for dark condition we write y is equals to 2n minus 1 into lambda d by d. 2d. Okay, 2n minus 1 into lambda by d is the delta x. That y only you will get here by solving these two equations. Okay, it is the condition for y here. Okay, so between the points O and P, okay, suppose they mention there are 10 bright fringes. 10 bright fringes means when you come to numericals, what I'm saying. 10 bright fringes are there in between O and P. If they say directly, I can put this y is equals to 10 bright fringes. If they give OP occupies 10 bright fringes. Okay, then I can write OP, which is equals to y is equal to 10 bright fringes, each of which lambda d by d. When you come to numerical stuff. Okay, and 10 bright fringes means it is a condition for bright. So I don't use this equation now. Immediately I have to go to this y is equals to n lambda d by d, that I substituted there 10 y d by d. Okay, then here you can write what is that y. Okay, and you can find out from that, you can find out the path difference also. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Means here 10 bright fringes are there, means 10 lambda d by d is equals to what you are writing is equals to delta x into d. Okay, directly you can say this is equals to perfectly the equation n lambda, what you are getting. Okay, so if they say 9 dark fringes, 9 bright fringes, sorry, 9 dark fringes, then no need to solve now. Then directly you can take 9 dark fringes, path difference is equals to 9 lambda by 2. I think you understood. This is the path difference. Okay, there are 9 dark fringes are there in between O and P. Then delta x you can write it as delta x formula is 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2. Okay, so 2n minus 1 value is given 9 lambda by 2. Okay, right. Sorry, I think totally 9 dot figures. Correct one. 2n minus 1 is 9 lambda by 2. Okay, this is the way how to use the y term when you come to find out the path difference. Okay.